Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Sanchez, and I am a senior transportation with the Department of Transportation. I'm also serving as the project manager for this Dodger Stadium transportation study that I'm here to share some information about. The presentation is a little bit high level. I just want to make sure I have enough time to go over all the different aspects of the project, and then have plenty of time to have question and answer if there are any questions. And so with that, we can move here to the next slide. Okay. So an overview of the project goals are shared here. So the big picture is that we're trying to get an understanding of different game day situations that occur at the stadium when there are Dodger games, but we know that there's also different types of events that take place at the stadium now. But in particular, we're trying to get an understanding of what the operations look like when there's events, and also on regular non-event days. So some of the things that we're looking at include evaluating traffic operations, transit service, multimodal circulation, meaning walking, cycling, obviously transit, and then the different types of queuing impacts that occur and how that impacts the different communities surrounding the stadium campus. And what we're hoping to do is identify operational challenges and develop strategies that we can, in time, some short, some middle, and some long-term strategies that hopefully we can implement over time with funding to make the situation a little bit better for both the communities around, but also people getting in and out of the stadium. Again, just a little background, I guess, about where the study is and where it came from. So we started really at the beginning of this calendar year. Going back to 2024, the council approved the motion for us, directing us to conduct this study. And so that was really the nexus for us being involved and leading this effort. Earlier this year, we onboarded a consultant. Like I said, at the beginning of this year, January into February. In the spring, we really have been focused on completing the assessment of all the data that we have for existing conditions. Then into the summer, we've really focused our efforts on collecting new data, in particular for event days. We picked, I think, a total of those are 6 different days that we looked at ingress and egress patterns for days that had events at the stadium. I think most of them were Dodger games. And so that's sort of where we're at right now, including a pretty robust engagement and public participation plan that we developed in partnership with the consultant team. And just recently, I think we had our last event. We may have some time in budget for maybe another event here and there, but we did like the Kick It in the Park, we did the Lotus Festival, we did the Park to Park event. I think we did one of the farmers markets out here in Lincoln Heights. And plus we have a website for the project, a survey that's currently still out. We extended the deadline for that till the 31st of the month. So if you haven't already done so, feel free to visit our project website that has all the fact sheets, the links to the survey. It has our general email address, and we welcome all feedback, good or bad, or neutral. And so going forward, we hope by the end of the year to be ready to present the recommendations from the study. So that would be a project report that has, again, like I mentioned earlier, hopefully some short-term, some sort of mid-range, and then some long-term improvements that we feel would make the situation better. So some of this I already mentioned. The motion that directed our study was approved in 2024. And the objective of the study is to improve access to and from Dodger Stadium and reduce queuing impacts to the neighboring communities. This is just a little more detail about what I previously mentioned. We're hoping to assess all the different patterns and circulation operational issues that develop for event day and non-event days. So we're hoping to really try to compare apples to apples in the lens of, again, transit, biking, cycling. We did some walk and bike audits in the community. I'm not sure if anybody here participated, but we have been working steadily on making progress in all the engagement and data collection. And the motion itself directed us specifically, to include all the communities around the stadium, which include Angelino Heights, Echo Park, Chinatown, Sonoma Canyon, Lincoln Heights, and the Legion Valley. But as I mentioned, with a lot of the events that we've been doing, we have people coming from all over the city, from all over the county and further for the different events that we've been tabling at. And so we've been able to capture quite a few, I think, different zip codes and feedback from people that both are just kind of transiting the area, attending the events, live in the area. So again, we welcome all the feedback, good, bad, or neutral, and that's where we at now. But the current traffic patterns, available modes, including vehicle transit, pedestrian, and bicycle access to the stadium, are large focus of our study. We're hoping to gather input from the key stakeholders on needs, impacts, and desired outcomes. So I think that's the portion that we cannot really do data collection on, right? That a lot of that comes from the people that live in transit and attend these events, and that's what we would like to hear a lot of, is what the desired outcomes are from the people that are giving us that feedback. And ideally, we hope to issue recommendations based on the findings that we gather through all the different methods of data collection that we're doing, improving the experience for both attendees and surrounding communities, as I mentioned, and to inform those short and long-term improvements, and planning a lot of this out with all the different stakeholders, including this group here, but other larger groups such as LA Dodgers themselves and Metro, who operates and funds the shuttle from the stadium. I mentioned that we onboarded a consultant, and so the primary consultant is Arcadis, and they have a pretty robust team of sub-consultants, Cielo and Arellano, who have mostly led that community engagement process that I mentioned and referred to. And then Park Analytics, which is a data collection sub-consultant that focuses on drone collection. So we went through a pretty rigorous process with the FAA, Dodgers, and the fire department to be able to get the permits to fly during game times. As you can imagine, sometimes there's national coverage and there's restrictions in the airspace. So that was a learning process, but a very important process for us to respect and make sure that we don't cause any issues. Our understanding is that there was an issue even the day that we were out there with another drone that was not permitted and they had to ground it. So we were luckily able to navigate and get all the information that we needed. I think a lot of this we've already mentioned, but one of the things I want to focus on is the graphic. And these are the different routes that, through the Dodgers website and the routes that they publish and recommend, from the different CBOs that we've engaged with, from the early feedback that we got, these were the routes that we felt were the best to really focus our resources on. And these are also the routes that we did the walk and bike audits on. And so we also collected a lot of feedback from the people that participated on those audits. We focus on simple things like striping, maintenance needs, but we also focus on like roadway condition. Do the connections make sense? What would be the recommended or preferred modes for these different routes? and then obviously how they overlap with the city's mobility plan designations and things of that nature that we obviously have to consider in making the decisions. I think I covered the rest of it. This is just sort of a timeline of, again, what we hope to achieve. And so the blue part, the first part, is really what our current scope and studies is taking place during that time. And then as we approach, obviously, the big LA 28 event, and Dodger Stadium will be a venue for that, LA 28. We hope to have any short and like near-term strategies. We did hear a lot of just basic broken sidewalk, could use better lighting, things like that, that if possible we can accelerate and have in place by the LA 28 Olympics, but also more desired future more corridor type implementations that might take a little bit longer. But this is just sort of a picture of what we hope to accomplish. I mentioned that we have had briefings with many different community partners and stakeholders. We have done several different community events, pop-ups, an open house at the Lotus Festival, for example. We did tabling at the shuttle loading and unloading areas inside of Pateros Plaza. We still have the social media campaign going and the survey as well. There were some mailers and posters that were distributed and posted, focusing more on the 1 mile radius. So a lot of the outreach is being done in general at all these events, but some of it is more targeted for the people that live closer to the stadium, and that's referring again more for the canvassing and the mailers and posters and things of that nature. And that really just comes down to budget. We wish we could go much further out to do all that, but we just don't have budget for that. And next steps, we hope to continue the conversation with all the different stakeholders and partners that we've been working with already. Specifically, as I mentioned, Dodgers and Metro, because they would be key components of any strategies implementation going forward. We want to establish good relationships and communication with all the different groups that we've engaged with already, including this group here. We're hoping to make, we've made data requests to support the study of the different groups that we've been engaging with already. We've collected quite a bit of parking occupancy and attendance information, again, from the Dodger Shuttle, from our own city parking division. Through that data collection effort, including the drone, it gives us a very good picture of what parking looks like around the stadium, including in the stadium, for both event and non-event days. And again, just continuing the community engagement throughout the span of our contract, and continue to identify any key stakeholders. If there's any group that we haven't engaged with yet, we're actively trying to seek that out. And whatever budget we do have, like I mentioned, we hope to continue doing on-site activations or doing anything that we can to meet people where they are. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. This is my email address, but as I mentioned, if you do a quick Google search for LADOT and Dodger Stadium study, you'll very quickly find our project website, and that has a lot of very useful information, including fact sheets, links to the survey, links to the project email, which is, it goes directly to myself, but also the rest of the team that works on the project. And I think at this point I can open it up to any questions that might be out there.
First to the council, any questions?
Have you considered the DOT dash buses, where they're green and electric, and very easy to maneuver in traffic, and can do turnaround on Vince Scully back and forth, for bringing people either from Union Station or from other places near downtown into the stadium, as well as dedicating that bus system for after the game to take them back to designated areas so that they can get home.
Okay, let me see if I can summarize the question. It's regarding LADOT dash, if we considered using that as part of the solution. And there's a two-part answer to that is yes, we have considered that, and we do have conversations with our partners in the dash and transit division. But I think, as you can imagine, their operation is relatively small compared to someone like Metro, and most of their routes tend to be fixed route with pretty steady hours of operation. And you know, I think in downtown the headways can be pretty frequent, but in other routes it's not so frequent, and a lot of that just has to do with ridership and funding. So while we will continue to talk with our dash partners, I don't know how much they would be able to be involved with the actual operations for a game specific route. But yes, we are considering that, and we are talking to our partners.
It's only 80 to 82 games per day. That's only 80 days the whole year. And that you would commit the city Department of Transportation for your transportation spend.
So we will have continued conversations with them.
Okay. Questions from the council?
It's not a question, it's so much as a thought. We had suggested to several people on Metro's board that we on Alvera Street have a large section for bus parking. And I know they already have the express going from the Union Station, but they can almost double that using our bus parking on Main Street, which would connect directly into the bus lane going up towards Dodger Stadium to double the amount of transit traffic they could have moving people forward.
Yeah, no, thank you for that insight. I know that in our conversations with Metro to this point, they have mentioned both things that they would like to implement, they just don't have funding for. They've also shared some of the iteration of like how they've gotten to this point. They feel very optimistic about where their operations are right now based on the turnaround times, like how long it physically takes to get to and from the stadium and the station and the South Bay location. I think with funding, there's a lot more options that they can entertain. We've also talked to, I didn't mention this yet, but the Hollywood Bowl specifically, they have a very robust shuttle operation. It's a little bit different, right, because it's one trip essentially from each location, maybe 2 or 3 if it's a very popular location. But we are having conversations with Dodgers, with other venues that have very robust shuttling operations. And that is definitely something I can bring to the group. And if, again, their operations and funding allow it, it's definitely something we can consider.
Right, because, I mean, we're literally right across the street from them. So dropping off and leaving from that area is a walk to a half a block to Metro, which you need a station to go back to the car. So it seems like a really easy transition and an easy way to double the amount of bus ridership that we could have moving people to and from without,
Yeah, I think-
increasing another lane or doing anything else, because you already have this current lane, and from where the bus stop is on Alvera Street to Cesar Chavez is what, 200 feet, 300 feet. So it's a fairly quick turn into what you need to go to. So dropping off, they don't have to come, they can come back and around and come and drop off on Main Street just as easily, and get right back into that lane and go back up into the traffic.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Jason?
I believe this study ends at the end of this month, right, correct, that you're doing for, from the community?
The survey.
The survey,
ends
yeah.
at the end of the month.
Okay, so I just want to let the community know that the survey ends at the end of this month so that everyone can participate. When do you anticipate that the study or your, the plan will be ready for presentation?
We hope by the end of the year, so hopefully late in the fall, maybe early winter. But yeah, by the end of this calendar year, we hope to have a project report.
And I get one other question is, are you guys looking at all options? Obviously, there are some controversial ones and there are some that aren't, and we just want to make sure you're looking at a holistic viewpoint of all options.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say is, obviously, I'm sure you're probably referring to the gondola, right? We are not tied to that project in any way. That's a totally different effort. We don't consider specifically that type of operation because we just don't have, it's not a data we can collect, right? Like right now. And so we're focused on what the existing connections are to and from the stadium. And so, you know, again, to be able to compare apples to game day and non-game day operations, it's really difficult to do that based off of projections. And, you know, but we are focused on all the different methods, including extending shuttle service, you know, creating new routes, etc., along with pedestrian improvements. Right? We've heard feedback about like they want staircases, right? Like automated staircases, you know, or like people movers, like the new airport improvements, you know. So as pie in the sky as it may be, you know, we're hearing a lot of the feedback, and again, we want to hear that. That's part of what we will consider.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you're looking at all of them, people mover, other alternatives, including the existing ones. Great, perfect, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? I just want to follow up on all the different modes of transportation. Because, I know the EIR mentioned on the Department of Transportation signed off on it, so they did consider it. It's just, and I don't think we're very good with something like 1% of
Can't hear you.
Oh, it was, I'm referring to the gondola and the Department of Transportation did sign off on the gondola in Cracky View. And even though it's not apples to apples, it could be a future mode of transportation as other modes of transportation. So I just want to make sure that the survey included that so people will know that there's additional modes of transportation. Even though it's not apples to apples, you don't have hard data on it, it is possible because the yard was made and they did assessment.
Well, I would just maybe walk that back just a little bit. I wouldn't say that we signed off on it. For any EIR that involves our jurisdiction, it's common practice for us to submit a comment letter. So in the comment letter, and in this case it was a transportation assessment, we did mention that there would, for example, be very little impact as far as CEQA and DMT. But I don't think that there was any further analysis done during that time, and so our comments were reserved more to the CEQA elements. But again, through the survey, we have gotten questions specific to the gondola and other, you know, pie in the sky projects that people conjure up, and so we're open to all of that. Anything that we can make a recommendation and can have, you know, like rough order magnitude costs that we can attribute to them, and that they're feasible, and we can find other similar implementations, we will definitely consider.
The reason I bring it up because all these people here it's not on yours, but it's on the jet on the gondola, so or the metro. Right? So I just want to make sure both sides are heard and that you recognize that that's a transportation that people can find out. Any questions for him from the public? Please raise your hand. Couple of comment cards, but I don't know if this relates to yours. So. Oh, number 5. Okay. Karina Povera. Go ahead.
Hi. Can you hear me? My name is Karina. I wanted to speak
perspective of residents of Lookout Drive and Bernard Street. We are arguably the closest to Dodger Stadium, yet we do not have accessible transit options. Just to get to this meeting, for instance, if I wanted to walk instead of driving, I would have to either go over the freeway overpass on the 110 or walk up that big hill on Chavez Ravine. I have seen that this is also a problem for Dodgers fans who walk to the stadium. So I ask that you please consider these streets too in the study of Dodger Stadium traffic, because this is a real problem, but I think it needs more visibility. I think that increased bus service, perhaps on Stadium Way or Chavez Ravine Drive, would be really helpful, and it would be mutually beneficial to Dodgers fans and local residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next comment, Phyllis Ling.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask, well, if you're going to do another Dodger Stadium survey, because the one that was in the EIR for the gondola was from 2014, so it's kind of outdated. And then there were like assumptions about people taking the gondola, like 68% they assume would take transit for their entire journey, and then they just use the average distance that any Dodgers per fan was traveling to the game. So more detail in that kind of survey might be helpful, because the quality of the transfer in transit is very important. So if you have a gondola that's trickling people in over a 2-hour period, you can't really have a train coming every few minutes to pick up all these people, and that wouldn't be efficient. You know, whereas with a Hollywood Bowl style bus, you could give people 1-seat rides for their entire journey, or you could do the caravan of buses with the stops at Olvera Street. That would increase the amount of staging area for the buses. That would increase and give you more people arriving all at one time to connect to a train at Union Station. So I just wanted to emphasize that the quality of the connection is very important in your analysis, and that special attention should be given to modes that get people not just farther away from Dodger Stadium and into our neighborhoods, but actually farther into wherever they came from. So, thank you.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, again, DOT is not working on that project. So whatever, I think you said survey, but I think you meant the analysis that they conducted at that time. I envision that they would probably have to redo some of that moving forward, because a lot of the city permitting, and like, again, DOT, we still need to sign off on a lot of things if they needed, geometric reconfiguring of the street, changing in operations. So there's still a lot of other work down the road that will need to come to us to review. But again, I just want to clarify, we did not work on any of that.
Okay, I think that's the last of the questions. For those who came in late, thank you, Ron.